So we're going to watch a video on Vaush. That's what we're doing. There is a prolific streamer by the name of Vaush who has recently been highlighted in a lot of different social media platforms for some very controversial and worrying things. Well, today we're actually going to watch a video from Vaush on their autism and how being autistic affects them as a streamer. Have you guys seen the social media controversy?
Man, and I have to fly out. Dude, what is with this fucking trend right now of everyone doing this stupid podcast setup where they have the mics under their faces? I hate this. We developed the technology to talk over the computer instantly, and you're going to make me shell out thousands of dollars for travel and accommodations, or you'll pay for it. It's a work expense, write it off. I fucking hate flying. I hate flying so fucking much, man. With respect, somebody in your profession should enjoy travel, lol. Why? I'm a live streamer. This is literally the least grass-touching profession on earth. This is the most I'm not leaving my desk profession on earth. Why would I oh yeah, dude, instead of having a call that lasts 2 hours, instead, why don't you book out 3 days for travel so you can, why? So they can keep their cutesy fucking podcast days? Oh my God. Why are you so lazy?
This person has a lot more emotional. He seems very angry. Yeah. It's one thing I've seen from popular streamers. They just have this, I don't know. How do you say it? They have an ungodly level of conviction about anything that they talk about. And they also have a very large emotive reactions to things, which I don't think that's something that I have. What is this video about? Apparently it's about their autism, but we are yet to hear much about that. I can understand that. I think this is something probably quite interesting, but the whole thing with... I'm just going to switch my stream. The whole thing with autism and streaming and doing YouTube videos, like, people get the impression, or can get the impression, that we are like communication and socialization are different things. You know, there's a difference between talking to someone in real life and talking at a camera for a large amount of time. I suppose there is the interaction of speaking to, you know, people who are in chat and commenting and all that, but generally it is, I'd say probably it's very suited to being autistic. If you have the communication skills to sort of draw people in, I guess, it doesn't really matter if like you find it hard to talk to people in real life. You basically just get to monologue for the entire time, which is, I would say, quite an autism thing. He's a very angry person, seems aggressive. Find that person very intimidating. I find them annoying. It seems very punchable. Do you know what I mean? You just like, you ask them one thing and they start yapping, and like you ask them something that's really not meant to start, but any sort of smidgen of disagreement or controversy, and they're on it, and then after a few seconds they're just monopolizing the entire conversation. Have you come across people like that? Because I have, and I know when I've come across someone like that, my face, they're conversation vampires, there we go, and my face goes blank. I stop making any effort to interact. I just let them talk themselves out, and then I walk away. Seems very punchable. I mean, yeah, it's the conviction. It's the unwarranted conviction on everything that I don't particularly like. Like, I understand it. People like conviction. It's very alluring. It's like this whole idea of confidence and such. But, you know, maybe try not to talk with conviction about things that you don't know much about. I think that's fair enough to say.
It's not a laziness thing, man. Travel makes me fucking queasy. It makes me sick. I feel like depressive the entire week after I fucking hate travel. I've always hated travel. I've always been like that. And then I get into fucking live streaming, and it's like, woo, okay, finally, I can do it. Most jobs don't require you to travel, you know. I'm not like a business consultant. Why? Literally autism. Doing stuff in the world makes you depressed. Are you fucking retarded? You're not doing stuff in the world. You're taking, rather than having a 2-hour call on your computer, you're taking 3 or 2 days to travel. That means going to the airport.
Mate, like, if someone asked me to be on like a top podcast and I had to travel, I'm not going to complain about that. Like, even if it does stress me out, like going to a new place and then like sitting face to face with someone else, I am going to do it. It sounds interesting. Like, there is definitely an allure to that, you know. I understand that it looks better. People like it more. But come on, get to the autism bit, please.
Airport really early. That means dealing with the airline. That means getting on the plane, getting off, everything, travel, sick, potential for COVID. I now have to sleep in a different bed. I now have to eat different food that I like eating. And like, you guys do actually know I'm autistic, right? You realize that's an actual thing and not just you realize the fact that I can talk well to an audience right now doesn't change the fact that the autism's a real thing and not a meme diagnosis, right? And then I have to use entirely different accommodations to drive over to some compound where a bunch of people will fucking watch over me as I have a conversation that is exactly the same content-wise as it would have been if I'd done it online. And then I have to go back.
But it's not though. I think having a physical face-to-face conversation does work a lot different, you know, because you have the ability to like reduce the volume of how people talk, and you know, you don't get as much of that indirectness, I think, over line. More than through text, of course, but I think it is different, you know, talking face-to-face to someone. Is this ranting? Yes, I can see.
And that means that I lose out in
my face is going blank.
And it means that I'm not comfortable the entire time. It's like, it's so unnecessary. And it's also they can keep their stupid podcast mic aesthetic. And this is, by the way, this has only been coming back up in the past, like, year and a half. Apart from Tim Pool, I remember a couple of years ago, everybody just had online appointments, and it wasn't just COVID. Even before March 2020 or whatever,
you also have connection issues.
Call in because it's normal. Like, that's what you do. Not to mention, man, like I'm going to perform way worse in a conversation if I have to fly over there because I'm like uncomfortable the entire time beforehand. I feel like Vaush is just arguing with kids who.
I feel like as well, you don't have as much of an opportunity to monopolize a conversation. If you're in person with somebody, like you can just jack their volume all the way down if you wanted to, mute their audio, and just speak. You know, if you just want to get something across, you just don't want to listen to them. You have the power to do that. You can't really do that in person.
Kids who think flying and traveling is cool and don't understand the mental/physical tax it takes. Yeah, like traveling for vacation or to see my family is fine. Because I'm going to see my family, not like, oh, now let's like upend a day and a half of like discomfort and frustration and expenditures to both ends of a 2-hour talk. People assume you'd like it because you can afford first class. I don't take first class. Are you crazy? I don't know. You're kind of exaggerating. I mean, I'm talking about like.
So I'm imagining that this conversation is about like why it's difficult to travel. I hope that they bring up some more context to the whole autism thing, because I genuinely want to know, because there's generally not a lot of autism streamers, to be honest, or at least not an autism streamer, but an autistic streamer that I know of. There might be a lot more. I might have just that might be completely wrong. It might just be like the majority of people just undiagnosed. They don't talk about it or something. Who knows?
Like my mental state. So, I mean, I can't be exaggerating. Based business class, I fly economy. I take the cheapest seats that I can. Is there a place you'd be happy to go? I like traveling if it's for vacation. I don't like traveling if it's an unnecessary set of bookends around a conversation I could just have over my computer. Autism affects people differently. What in particular about flying makes it difficult for you? I don't.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things. You have transitioning. You have uncertainty. You know, you exiting out of your routine, your space. I mean, there's a lot of things to do with traveling that can make it difficult for autistic people. That's for sure. Not even taking into account like the sensory aspects of it, or being around people, or you know, there's a lot of things, but not everybody. It does stress me out a little bit, but if I've done it a few times, if I'm in the groove, if I'm used to traveling, it's fine. It's fine. It's nice to have you on here, Jimmy. Hope you do well. See you later. I want to go and see my psychiatrist in person so he can take my situation more seriously. Seems like he seems to think I overreact, as I glean from his notes. Oh my god, I meet people on the phone all the time. Oh, this is Vaush flavor. Yes, is abrasive when first getting to watch him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. To be honest, I don't know. I've seen little bits about like the whole controversy around him at the moment, but I haven't really watched him that much, I suppose. I've just seen other people talk about him. It just happened, you know. Airplanes are always fully booked and you don't know whom you're going to sit next to. That's true. That is true. Maybe they're going to want to have small talk. Oh my god. Let's cancel it. Cancel it, go home. Be in your autism cave.
I guess I just kind of assumed a lot of this would be intuitive to you guys. I didn't realize that I didn't realize flying was so much fun for everyone. I didn't consider the fact that it interferes with streaming. That actually,
I don't like flying. Well, that's mostly because of the waiting.
Networks. I mean, yeah,
and the time commitment.
My computer's here. It's literally like this meeting could have been an email, but 20 times worse. Vaush had no idea that autism did that to you. Always thought you were just lazy. You should have said this back when people were like, Vaush, will you can? Why the okay.
I mean, that's something that we can hear quite a bit. Very, very common comments that a lot of autistic and neurodivergent individuals may get. You struggle with it more, and you don't do it as much, and you're lazy. Yes.
Okay, first of all, I can do whatever the I want, and I will never have to justify how I spend my time to any of you. If I don't want to stream, I just don't stream. If I get a fucking grinder date and I want to go plow somebody's ass instead of streaming, I will. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, this is not going to be a monetized stream clip, that's for sure. Holy Jesus. It just came out of nowhere.
I'll miss appointments. I'll not take opportunities. And the reason for that is because the one thing this job offers me in terms of like benefit over all the shit that I have to deal with is freedom. That's the main thing you get as a live streamer. It's why I'm doing this. You know, I have a degree in sociology. I am certainly at this point well connected. I could be doing other things. I could be working with NGOs, or I could be doing some kind of more behind the scenes legitimate political stuff. But I think I can do the most good here. I know I can because I reach a ridiculous number of people through this. If every live streamer were to be held to account for their like optimization of their time based on people's perceptions of what they're doing from the outside,
just
of like,
to get nothing done.
Why haven't you streamed this day? You don't know what's going on, you know? I try my best. But the idea of like, bro, why didn't you just take time to describe, you, a openly autistic person, why it might be annoying to take 3 days to travel and spend time in unfamiliar accommodations for a conversation you could have had effortlessly just like over the computer. That. Like, man, if you don't explain why that might be a bother, people would assume you're lazy. Then think I'm lazy. It's fine. I am lazy in a lot of ways, but I still do a lot of good. It's like, can I not vent about this completely aesthetics-driven, unnecessary trend of flying people out for something that could be done with no loss in content quality online without people going like, oh, man, dude, well, you know, when you signed up for live streaming 4 years ago, that means that you have to like magically overcome all of the specific quirks and eccentricities that give your character shape, and you have to just fit into the mold of like every other like, no, fuck you. Why would I do that? I would just get any other job if I wanted to like subject myself to that kind of shit. Like, well, yeah, I enjoy my work, specifically the live streaming part, not the fucking flying out part. Finding the terminal is hard too. No, that part's not that difficult.
Thanks for the chat, Thomas. How to get going. No worries, Skimpy Shrimpy. Love the name. I mean, he has a point. I would love to travel to see a place that I want to go for other reasons. Yeah, I guess so. I quite like traveling for work. It kind of makes me feel like I'm doing something. I don't know. I don't know. I like doing things, different things, you know? I like being excited and like, even if it's work related, be like, I'm going to do some work thing. I am traveling for work. I feel like a businessman. Could see why someone might think his tone is a little off-putting, but I agree with him on almost every point. I think when you start listening to him, yeah. I mean, watch some more of his stuff. I mean, I don't know. I need to watch more of his stuff. That's for sure, to see what he's about. But I'm good with traveling, but not in a group bus. You hate that so much. I don't mind that either. I just need to be in the right headspace. I need to plan correctly. I need to have the ability to step away and have alone time if I need to. You don't really get that too much with planes. I never sleep on planes. Can't do it. It's because of being around strangers, you know. Difficult.
That's just you. that part's easy enough. God, I hate flying so much, man. The literal last time that I flew to visit my parents, I missed my flight for a reason that wasn't my own. I left the house at 4:45 a.m.
No, yeah, I don't like that part.
Like, I don't have enough trouble sleeping. And Ubered over there, and then the security line that I was in ended up, through a change, only having one person processing people who didn't have the TSA Fast Pass. And I was in the security line for an hour and 25 minutes with a headache the entire time. And then when I finally got through, the flight had already, like, they just closed up like the bridge over the plane. So I had to wait for the next one. Why do people like travel? I like being in other places. Who likes travel? Oh, wow. So Instagram, so vibes. I'm drinking a coffee at an airport. Who the f cares? Airports suck.
I mean, it's kind of nice for me because I like being in... I don't know about you guys. Don't know if anyone else empathizes with this at all. I like traveling when I can sit down, when I have to sit down for long periods of time to get to somewhere. Because in my brain, it sort of narrows down the amount of things that I am able to do and makes deciding what to do a lot easier. So if I'm getting like a train somewhere and it's like 5 hours or something, maybe I'm going to London... you get on that train, as long as there's not too many crossovers, if it's not just, here, there. If I've got a long period of time to just sit down in my own space, I've got my earphones, I got my phone, I got some snacks, a drink, I can just sit down and I'm like, okay, so I can do a few things. I can't really watch a YouTube video because of the signal. I can sort of play games here and there if I want to, just scroll up, play a bit of Pokemon Go, But most of all, I can listen to music. I have to listen to music, and I can do some writing, and that just seems like the right thing to do. So I quite like traveling in that case because it narrows down what I am able to do. I can't talk to people on the phone because of the signal. I can't watch a YouTube video. It sort of narrows down what I need to do. I can't exercise, although I could. It would be a bit weird to do on the train. So all of the things are sort of compiled. My potential list of things to do is compiled, and it makes me feel safe. You can download YouTube videos. Yes, you can, but I don't. Nice quiet transition. Yeah, I mean, if it's a long train, you just get yourself comfy. Make sure you got some snacks. Make sure you're prepared. It's all good. The only stressful part is changing trains, especially if those train times are very tightly overlapped. That's the only stressful part for me.
Suck. And everything there costs more. Travel. So I hate travel so much. I don't even like driving places. This is why I like walkable cities so much. I don't want to get in a car, but you have to pretty much everywhere, so whatever. But I don't have to fly everywhere. Not normally. Taking the train is usually lovely. Trains are okay. Unironically,
yeah, trains are cool.
Trains are fine. They have a lot more room on them than planes are. They're just a lot less inconvenient. Planes. You just board a train, you don't go through TSA. Travel is nice if you have friends with you, then it feels like an adventure. Yeah, that's the thing that makes travel special. It's the anticipation of knowing you're going to end up in someplace cool or special. But when I travel for work, the few times that I have, because I avoid it whenever possible, unless there's a really...
Well, I think it's just going to continue talking about travel. So I'm going to bring up some other things to add to the discussion about how autism affects me as a streamer, as a person. I'd say the biggest one out of all is executive dysfunction. That is a big one. Not gonna lie, that's the hardest one. General life planning, that can make it difficult. I think there is also the autistic inertia, being that I work from home. I am in front of my computer. If I get into a little bit of if I want to do some work, I can work from morning till night, and I don't have to clock out. I don't have to. I'm not forced to go home, sort of break up my day. I have to actually force myself to break up my day in ways, Although you do get the freedom, you also don't get the certainty. It's not very apparent that there is a effort to reward ratio. A lot of it is subject of chance, also, or something, what topic you talk about, perhaps. So, I mean, it depends. I mean, some people, I guess, do have a lot of freedom, and I try to maximize that as much as possible to talk about things that I want to talk about. Other people will just kind of see what's trending, see what people are talking about, and make a video on that, So, but you can set up your own routine, and it can work. And it's also, I would say, better if you're a night owl, perhaps. If you get all your energy in the evening, you could, for example, take your free time in the morning, in the afternoon, and then work in the evening. It's really, really up to you. But it also does, as I said, bring a lot of uncertainty to it. Yeah. And so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would add when it comes to autism and streaming. I say that's pretty much it. I think it's just the exact dysfunction for me, because I don't have any real sensory issues apart from perhaps the lighting. if I want nice lighting, and I want good camera quality, perhaps that's a bit of a sensory thing. Sometimes it gets me, sometimes it gives me a headache, overloads me and stuff, but most of the time it's fine. I think there's a few stuff. I think maybe the processing, but it doesn't seem like Vaush has the issues with the processing. He seems to speak very, very quickly and very eloquently, to be honest. It's quite a skill, trying to develop it.
Enticing opportunity. I avoid that shit because I hate it. That's not what I wanted to do when I started doing this. And I refuse to buy into the bullshit premise that because I do political work, that obligates me to engage in the maximum degree of personal inconvenience. There are plenty of other things I can do to feel like I'm making a difference. I stand by those, and I don't really care what people. But the few times like I have traveled for work, I'm not like I'm not sightseeing, right? Like usually every time it's been like you fly over there and you have to leave like at a moderately either early or late, depending on what the schedule of the event is. I would never fly out and do a debate like same day. And then you get there and then you sit in a hotel room and I just quietly in a dead empty room that I have no connection to do emails and research until I fall asleep. Then I wake up the next morning, do emails and research until the debate, at which point I'm like, I'm probably still like nauseous from the flight because I always get nauseous whenever I fly.
I suppose that's another one. Like if you are in a new place, I can understand that quite a lot because a lot of the time I might have, if I have done traveling for things, if I've done some presentations and something of that nature, I will go up on the train and then I'll get there and I'll be like, okay, well, what am I going to do tonight? And I've got 6 hours left of the day, And I know what I can do, but because I'm not in my space, because I'm not used to this place where I'm there, it's difficult to like get myself to do stuff. So I end up just like watching YouTube videos and just doing nothing, wasting my time, waiting until the next day that where I have to do stuff. I don't know if you guys have that experience, but it's kind of like I need to acclimatize to a new place before I can start doing things, even if it's just like a hotel room.
I haven't had any good food because like I can never balance eating insubstantial snacks with eating like heavy, disgusting meals that make me feel like shit. I probably haven't drank enough water because again, like travel literally does
the interoception for sure.
Do the body homeostasis maintenance stuff. And I'm particularly bad at it. I've tried to get better. It's not like I haven't flown before. And then I go over there and I have to go through like the whole hour to 2 hours of finding their military compound or whatever the fool is dealing with. Go over there, get vetted by 40 dudes who are obviously concealed carrying, and then sit in a room where like 6 people are all adjusting lights on me, and then everything goes live. And I could have been doing it from my computer, and then I do the debate or whatever. I don't have my chat, which I like. I like having a chat with me, by the way. You guys are cool, thanks. I like having a second monitor that I can look at to like fact check people. Apparently Tim Pool allows people to bring laptops to fact check when they're there. I didn't know that. I wasn't informed that. And also, that's not easy to do right then. It's easy to do if you're on your computer here because like right now, here, I'm going to look at something on my second monitor. I just did it. Wow, easy. But if you're doing that in person, you have to open a laptop, go, hold on a second, and look, it's like practically impossible to do. So it's basically just a vibes fest. And then I get to go home. I get to check my phone and see a bunch of people reacting to whatever conversation I had. I feel empty as I see this, by the way. You say I did good, you say I did bad. It doesn't matter to me. I'm in a hotel. I want to die. And then I have to sleep one more night there, uncomfortable, wake up with a headache, cram down some breakfast food, coffee, maybe if I can. And then I go to the airport where I get to do the whole rigmarole again. I go home, my sleep schedule set back for 4 days, and I feel like shit for a week. And all of that could have been a 2-hour Skype or Discord or whatever Zoom call. Of course it's frustrating.
Yeah, but you get to be on a big platform.
I feel like that should be intuitive to people listening to me describe the experience. Maybe if I was more physically acclimated to travel, like I was better about it. But to here, I defer to autism. Maybe you just hadn't gone to somewhere that you like. I can understand it. No, I can't enjoy sightseeing if I'm like just sitting there waiting for
Yes.
If the next day I have that, I'm not going to be able to enjoy going to a local museum or whatever.
You need to regulate beforehand, don't you?
Disregard your disdain for flying. Nothing. Not for work. Nothing. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy any of it. I hate it. I understand what you're talking about. How's chat not? Well, it probably is an autism thing. So like maybe autistic people are like, "What is he complaining about, man? I get the seats are uncomfortable." In the plane.
I mean, I think it's just a general human thing for sure. But a lot of the things to do with autism can interplay into making it perhaps a little bit more stressful or uncomfortable. Like even if you take the example of the food. Maybe you have avoidant food restrictive intake disorder, I believe. And you just have a very narrow diet and you can't find something that you like, or they cook it in ways that you don't like and you can't eat it. And so you just have to eat crisps for the entire time. You know, I think that's another thing. Like what I was saying is relatable, but it can be managed if you want to. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If you are in a heavy state of burnout or your mental health is not very good and you haven't traveled in a while, like you've got to take very, very small baby steps and you can have bad experiences. But if it's something that you have done recently, or it's something that is sort of like part of your routine to travel, it becomes a little bit more tolerable. Like when I hadn't taken a train in a while post-COVID, for example, it was really difficult. I had a meltdown. It was a horrible ordeal. Second guessed if I was at the right platform, if I was on the right train, did I get on the right time, did I get off in time? Constantly thoughts in my brain. But as I started to do it more often, those thoughts started to quieten, and I could just set an alarm, like even quarter of an hour before I'm planning on getting off the train, or where it's planned to arrive at my spot, if I feel the need. But I can just chill. I can just do my own thing for that time, unless there is a bunch of football hooligans on the train. That's a bit difficult, to be honest. But you know, you can get to a point where it's kind of inconsequential. It doesn't really affect you too much. But it's the first bits that's hardest. It's the same with going to the gym. It's the same with a lot of things. It's just uncertainty produces anxiety in a lot of people, but for us it can sometimes be a lot more intense, and there's other factors to consider as well. But no, you could definitely do that. I could do that. It might be a bit stressful, like first time I did it, if I'm going to talk on a podcasting platform, but I can understand just wanting to chill and do your own thing too, to be honest. Like in your streaming cave, God, that chair is horribly damaged.
Plane, but like you just get off the plane, you're fine. But like, yeah, I can't convey those experiences to people. Why does Tim care so much about the in-person thing? Everyone does now, because all of these dipshit, it's mostly cons, because all these like grind hustle culture morons want to prove how uncucked but they are by COVID, by bringing people into their like fancy ass gaudy videos so they can
I'd love to do an in-person podcast. I think that'd be great, like if I had the resources and the space to do that. My god, we'll have to watch another thing in the future about Vaush and autism, but it feels like we're just getting a lot of with the Ritz of their ranting about traveling.
You're on when you're the one doing that podcast, you're on the home team. You're the one who who's in an environment they're comfortable with, which means that you're infinitely more likely to be comfortable than the person coming in. Get true. A pilot. That's true. That's all right. That's enough. I've complained enough. I just don't like it. I don't like it. You know, Vermin.
I think we've had enough of that discussion. I think it's an interesting conversation about traveling. I wouldn't necessarily say it's got much to do with being a streamer. I think it's just like an offshoot of traveling, of things that they don't do and complaining why. Because they're autistic, they can find it hard. Who knows? We'll have to watch another video, because I do see some sort of trailing off down the side about autism and Vaush. So we'll definitely have a look at that in the future. Maybe not today. I think I've had enough. But I mean, interesting points about travel, for sure. I wouldn't say that much of that is wrong, for sure. So good at complaining in a funny way. You like him, Minty Sash. I used to be fine with traveling pre-burnout. I didn't like it, but I can manage. Now I find any excuse not to travel. Like, sorry, I can't, I died. Yeah. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe if you're new here, and consider becoming a member on the Thomas Henley YouTube channel, which will be in the end screen. It's £1, and you get to view all the uncut live streams to your heart's desire earlier than you will see the clips, for sure.